Ever wonder what happens when you mix a messy lab, a bit of luck, and a sprinkle of human curiosity? No, you don't get a new TikTok trend. You get groundbreaking medical discoveries. Now imagine this. A scientist spills some mold on his petri dish, and instead of a ruined experiment, we get penicillin, the savior of countless lives. Or how about a guy messing around with cathode rays and suddenly, boom! We can see inside people without turning them into Swiss cheese? And don't even get me started on the time someone trying to cure heart disease stumbled upon the secret to everlasting. Well, let's just say the blue pill isn't just for Smurfs. Today we're about to take a wild ride through the fascinating, funny, and downright bizarre world of accidental medical breakthroughs. Whether you're into science, history, or just enjoy a good whoopsie story, this journey is sure to blow your mind and maybe even give you a newfound appreciation for the beautiful chaos that leads to some of our greatest medical miracles. Let's get started. Penicillin, the moldy miracle. Back in 1928, a scientist named Alexander Fleming was working in his lab. Like a typical busy scientist, he left his lab in a bit of a mess before heading off for a vacation. When he returned, he noticed something strange. One of his petri dishes, where he grew bacteria, had mold growing on it. But instead of ruining the experiment, this mold was actually killing the bacteria around it. Curious, Fleming decided to investigate further. He found that the mold, Penicillium notatum, was producing a substance that could kill many harmful bacteria. This substance was penicillin, the world's first antibiotic. Antibiotics are medicines that kill bacteria and cure infections. Penicillin works by attacking the cell walls of bacteria, which are like the bacteria's protective armor. Without their armor, bacteria can't survive. This discovery was a game changer. Before penicillin, even a small cut could lead to a deadly infection. But with antibiotics, doctors could treat and cure many bacterial infections that were once fatal. Penicillin saved countless lives during World War II by treating infected wounds and diseases like pneumonia and sepsis. Its discovery marked the beginning of the antibiotic era, leading to the development of many other antibiotics that we use today. But here's the kicker. Fleming didn't set out to discover antibiotics. He was actually researching something completely different. His accidental discovery of penicillin reminds us that sometimes the most important breakthroughs happen when we least expect them. X-rays, a peek inside. In 1895, Wilhelm Röntgen was fiddling around with cathode rays in his lab. He noticed something peculiar. When he covered the cathode ray tube with thick black paper, a nearby fluorescent screen started to glow. This was odd, because cathode rays shouldn't be able to pass through the black paper. Intrigued, Röntgen decided to investigate further. He experimented with different materials and found that some, like paper and cloth, didn't stop the mysterious rays at all. Others, like metal, blocked them completely. Human flesh seemed to let the rays pass through, but bones did not. Röntgen had accidentally discovered X-rays. X-rays are a form of electromagnetic radiation, similar to visible light, but with much higher energy. They can pass through most objects, including the human body. But different materials absorb X-rays to varying degrees. Dense materials, like bones, absorb more X-rays and appear white on an X-ray image. Softer tissues, which absorb fewer X-rays, appear darker. Röntgen's discovery revolutionized medicine. For the first time, doctors could look inside the human body without making a single cut. The ability to see broken bones, detect tumors, and diagnose diseases became a reality. The first medical X-ray was of Röntgen's wife's hand, showing her bones and a ring she was wearing. This breakthrough wasn't just limited to medicine. X-rays also found uses in other fields like security, where they are used to scan luggage at airports, and in astronomy, to study the universe. The development of X-ray technology advanced rapidly. Early machines were bulky and dangerous, exposing both patients and doctors to high doses of radiation. But as scientists and engineers refined the technology, X-ray machines became safer and more effective. Modern X-ray imaging has come a long way from Röntgen's initial discovery. Today, we have advanced techniques like CT scans, which use X-rays to create detailed cross-sectional images of the body, and fluoroscopy, which provides real-time moving images. These technologies help doctors diagnose and treat a wide range of medical conditions more accurately and efficiently. Röntgen's accidental discovery of X-rays earned him the first ever Nobel Prize in Physics in 1901. It opened up new possibilities in science and medicine, transforming how we understand and interact with the world around us. And to think, it all started with a simple experiment that took an unexpected turn. Insulin, sweet relief. In the early 1920s, a young Canadian surgeon named Frederick Banting had an idea. He believed that a hormone produced in the pancreas could treat diabetes, a disease that was basically a death sentence at the time. Banting teamed up with a medical student named Charles Best, and together they started experimenting on dogs. They managed to isolate a substance from the pancreas that significantly lowered blood sugar levels in diabetic dogs. This substance was insulin. The discovery of insulin transformed diabetes from a fatal disease into a manageable condition. But let's rewind a bit and see how they got there. Banting and Best's work involved removing the pancreas from healthy dogs, which caused them to develop diabetes. Then, they would inject the dogs with pancreatic extracts to see if it could control the disease. After many trials, they finally succeeded. The dogs' blood sugar levels normalized, and they became healthier. Next, they had to test it on humans. The first patient was a 14-year-old boy named Leonard Thompson, who was dying from diabetes. The initial injection caused an allergic reaction because it was impure. But after purifying the extract, they tried again. And it worked. Leonard's blood sugar levels dropped, and he started gaining weight and strength. Insulin is a hormone that helps cells in your body absorb glucose from the bloodstream. When you eat, your blood sugar levels rise. Insulin signals your cells to take in glucose, which they use for energy. In people with diabetes, the body either doesn't produce enough insulin or can't use it properly. This leads to high blood sugar levels, which can cause serious health problems. The discovery of insulin was a game changer. Before insulin, diabetes patients were put on starvation diets to prolong their lives, but they often died young. Insulin therapy allowed people with diabetes to lead normal, healthy lives. It was like flipping a switch from hopelessness to hope. The production of insulin has evolved over the years. Initially, it was extracted from the pancreases of cows and pigs. Later, scientists developed methods to produce human insulin using genetically modified bacteria. This made insulin more widely available and reduced the risk of allergic reactions. Insulin pumps and continuous glucose monitors are now commonplace, making diabetes management even more effective and convenient. These advances have greatly improved the quality of life for people with diabetes. Frederick Banting and Charles Best's work earned them worldwide recognition. Banting even received the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine in 1923. Their accidental yet groundbreaking discovery of insulin remains one of the most significant medical breakthroughs of the 20th century. Anesthesia, the pain-free revolution. Let's take a trip back to the 19th century when surgeries were more like medieval torture sessions. Imagine going under the knife with nothing but a shot of whiskey and a stick to bite down on. Fun times, right? Enter the world of anesthesia, the game changer that transformed surgeries from a nightmare to a nap. In 1846, a dentist named William Morton was experimenting with ether, a common solvent. He thought it might have potential as a painkiller. So, naturally, he decided to test it on a patient. Because what could go wrong, right? Morton gave a public demonstration at Massachusetts General Hospital, where he successfully used ether to anesthetize a patient for surgery. The crowd was amazed. For the first time, a person could undergo surgery without feeling excruciating pain. Here's how it works. Anesthesia. Drugs like ether and nitrous oxide, yes, the same stuff that makes you giggle at the dentist's office, depress the central nervous system. This means they block pain signals from traveling to your brain. No pain signals, no pain. The discovery of anesthesia revolutionized the medical field. Surgeons could now perform longer and more complex procedures without worrying about the patient waking up screaming. This paved the way for advancements in all areas of surgery, from removing tumors to fixing broken bones. But wait, it gets better. Anesthesia isn't just about putting people to sleep. There are different types for different needs. Local anesthesia numbs a small area, like when you get a tooth pulled. Regional anesthesia blocks pain in a larger part of the body, like an epidural during childbirth. General anesthesia knocks you out completely, which is great for major surgeries, but not so much for your Tinder date. Anesthesia did have its growing pains. Early methods were hit or miss, with some patients not waking up at all. Ether, while effective, was highly flammable, leading to some explosive situations in the operating room. Imagine trying to fix a broken leg and ending up as a human torch. Not ideal. Thankfully, modern anesthesia is much safer. Anesthesiologists, yes, that's a real job title, carefully monitor patients to ensure they stay asleep and pain-free throughout surgery. They use a combination of drugs to control everything from pain to blood pressure, making the whole process as smooth as a baby's butt. The impact of anesthesia on medicine can't be overstated. It has made surgeries that were once unthinkable routine. It has also reduced the trauma and suffering associated with medical procedures. And for that, we can all breathe a sigh of relief, preferably not through an ether-soaked rag. Smallpox vaccine, the dairy connection. All right, time to milk another medical marvel for all it's worth. Let's talk about the smallpox vaccine, the OG of vaccinations. Picture this, it's the 18th century, and smallpox is ravaging the population, like it's on a mission to win the award for most horrifying disease. Enter Edward Jenner, a country doctor with a knack for noticing weird things. Jenner observed that milkmaids who caught cowpox, a much milder disease, never seemed to get smallpox. Now, most people would just shrug and go back to churning butter, but not Jenner. He decided to investigate further. So, in 1796, he took some cowpox pus from a milkmaid's blister, yum, and scratched it into the arm of an 8-year-old boy named James Phipps. Yep, he just casually infected a kid with cow disease. Don't try this at home, folks. A few weeks later, Jenner exposed James to smallpox, but the boy didn't get sick. Turns out, the cowpox had given him immunity. Jenner had discovered the first vaccine. To explain how this works, let's get a bit technical. When you introduce a weakened or dead pathogen to the body, it teaches the immune system to recognize and fight the real deal. It's like training for a fight with a teddy bear before facing a grizzly. The body gets prepared without getting destroyed in the process. This method worked wonders. Vaccination campaigns using Jenner's technique led to the complete eradication of smallpox by 1980. That's right, humanity kicked this disease to the curb so hard, it doesn't even exist in the wild anymore. But the road to victory was paved with some pretty bizarre bumps. Early vaccinations weren't exactly as hygienic as today. They often involved scraping pus from one person's blister to another. It was less medical procedure and more gross body fluid exchange program. Despite the ick factor, Jenner's discovery spread quickly. Governments around the world embraced vaccination, and smallpox cases plummeted. Over time, scientists developed more refined methods for creating and administering vaccines, leading to safer and more effective immunizations. Vaccination doesn't just protect individuals, it creates herd immunity. This means when enough people are vaccinated, the disease can't spread easily, protecting those who can't be vaccinated, like newborns and people with certain medical conditions. So it's not just about you, it's about the whole community. So, thanks to Edward Jenner's curiosity and a few brave milkmaids, we now have a powerful tool against deadly diseases. Vaccination has saved millions of lives and continues to protect us from threats like measles, polio, and, more recently, COVID-19. So next time you see a cow, give it a nod of thanks. It's not just a source of milk, but a symbol of one of humanity's greatest triumphs over disease. Pacemakers, a heartfelt innovation. Time to get to the heart of another accidental breakthrough. Meet Wilson Greatbatch, an engineer who had a knack for tinkering around. In 1956, while working on building a device to record heart rhythms, Greatbatch made a little whoopsie. He grabbed the wrong resistor and plugged it into his circuit. Instead of the device recording heartbeats, it started giving off regular electrical pulses. Most people would have tossed the broken device aside, but Greatbatch saw potential. He realized this accidental pulse generator could potentially help regulate heartbeats. Greatbatch's mistake led to the development of the first implantable pacemaker. Let's break it down. Your heart beats thanks to electrical signals that tell it when to contract. Sometimes these signals go haywire, causing irregular heartbeats or arrhythmias. A pacemaker sends regular electrical pulses to help the heart maintain a normal rhythm. It's like having a tiny personal trainer inside your chest, keeping your heart on track. Implanting the first pacemaker was a huge step forward, but early models were about as portable as a car battery. They needed to be worn outside the body, which, let's face it, wasn't the most convenient or fashionable accessory. Greatbatch, however, kept refining his device. By 1960, he had developed a much smaller, implantable version that could be placed directly inside the patient's chest. This breakthrough was a literal lifesaver. People with severe arrhythmias, who previously had a bleak prognosis, now had a new lease on life. Pacemakers helped them maintain a normal heart rhythm and significantly improved their quality of life. And it all started because Greatbatch grabbed the wrong resistor. Talk about a happy accident. Modern pacemakers are technological marvels. They're small, reliable, and come with fancy features like remote monitoring. Some even have sensors that detect physical activity and adjust the heart rate accordingly. It's like having a built-in upgrade system for your heart. But the story doesn't end with the hardware. Implanting pacemakers required advancements in surgical techniques too. Surgeons developed minimally invasive procedures to place these devices, reducing recovery time and complications. Now, getting a pacemaker is a routine procedure that can be done in a matter of hours. Pacemakers have saved countless lives and continue to be a vital tool in treating heart disease. And it's all thanks to Greatbatch's little oops moment in the lab. Sometimes mistakes lead to the greatest discoveries. Chemotherapy, mustard gas to medicine, it's World War I, and scientists are busy creating weapons of mass destruction. Among them is mustard gas, a nasty chemical that blisters skin and lungs and leaves people gasping for breath. Fast forward to the 1940s, and researchers start noticing something peculiar. Soldiers exposed to mustard gas had significantly reduced white blood cell counts. Instead of just focusing on the whole, this stuff kills people aspect, some bright sparks had a eureka moment. Hey, if it kills cells, maybe it could kill cancer cells too. And so, chemotherapy was born. In a nutshell, chemotherapy drugs are designed to target and kill rapidly dividing cells. Since cancer cells divide uncontrollably, these drugs can help stop them in their tracks. Of course, the downside is that chemo also affects other fast-dividing cells in your body, like those in your hair and digestive tract, which is why side effects like hair loss and nausea are common. The first clinical use of chemotherapy involved patients with advanced lymphomas, a type of blood cancer. Doctors used a chemical derived from mustard gas called nitrogen mustard. To everyone's surprise, the patient's tumors shrank significantly. It wasn't a cure, but it was a massive breakthrough. Suddenly, there was hope for patients who had been given a death sentence. Chemotherapy works by attacking the DNA or RNA of cancer cells, preventing them from dividing and growing. There are various types of chemo drugs, each targeting different stages of cell division. Some are like sledgehammers, smashing everything in their path, while others are more like precision tools, targeting specific cellular processes. Despite the promising results, early chemotherapy treatments were brutal. Patients experienced severe side effects, and the drugs were often as toxic as they were beneficial. But researchers didn't give up. They kept refining the treatments, developing new drugs and combination therapies to improve effectiveness and reduce side effects. Modern chemotherapy has come a long way. Today, it's used in combination with other treatments like surgery and radiation therapy. Oncologists carefully tailor chemo regimens to each patient's specific type of cancer and overall health, maximizing the chances of success while minimizing side effects. Viagra, a happy accident. Time to tackle one of the most famous happy accidents in medical history. Picture this. It's the 1990s, and scientists at Pfizer are working on a new drug to treat angina, a type of chest pain caused by heart disease. They're testing a compound called sildenafil, hoping it'll improve blood flow to the heart. Spoiler alert, it didn't work out for angina. But boy, did it work out for something else. During the clinical trials, the researchers noticed something peculiar. Male participants started reporting a rather unexpected side effect. Let's just say the blood flow wasn't going to their hearts. Turns out, sildenafil was incredibly effective at treating erectile dysfunction. So, while the original goal went down in flames, a new pharmaceutical star was born, Viagra. Viagra works by relaxing the blood vessels in the penis, which increases blood flow and helps achieve and maintain an erection. It's like giving your body a pep talk, telling it to rise to the occasion. The discovery was a game changer for men with erectile dysfunction, offering a simple, effective treatment where there previously were few options. But wait, it gets better. The marketing for Viagra was nothing short of legendary. Pfizer didn't just target older men, they went all out, getting celebrities like former Senator Bob Dole and soccer star Pelé to promote the drug. Viagra quickly became a household name, and suddenly, erectile dysfunction wasn't such a taboo topic anymore. Let's get a bit technical for a moment. Viagra works by inhibiting an enzyme called PDE5, which regulates blood flow in the penis. By blocking this enzyme, Viagra helps maintain an erection by keeping blood flowing where it's needed most. And the best part? It does all this with relatively few side effects. Of course, with great power comes great responsibility, and some hilarious mishaps. Like the guy who took a double dose and had to explain to the ER why his problem had lasted more than 4 hours. Or the infamous stories of misdirected packages ending up in the hands of unsuspecting family members. Let's just say Thanksgiving dinners got a lot more awkward that year. Viagra didn't just help men with erectile dysfunction. It sparked a whole new field of research into sexual health and opened the door for other medications, like Cialis and Levitra. It also helped remove some of the stigma around erectile dysfunction, encouraging men to seek treatment and talk more openly about their health.